Steve. Yes, so I'm very happy to introduce Elsie for our webinar this afternoon. She is a great speaker. She's full of energy, and she is a passionate advocate for teacher well-being and innovative technology in education. She is leading the ELTA project at the moment in Camelta in Cameroon. And she's also contributed to the British Council English Connect's CPD video series supporting EFL teachers. So you might have seen her on the Teaching English and the Africa Teaching English website. Her work is particularly focused on low resource contexts, demonstrating a commitment to accessible, quality education for all. So such a good goal, such a good topic, especially coming at the beginning of the school year for many of you. We all need to look after our well-being and resilience. Over to you, Elsie.
Thank you very much, Linda, and welcome to all participants this evening. A great shout out to all those who have been able to join us this evening or this afternoon, wherever you may be at this time. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. For today, we have as objectives for our webinar to define and discuss well-being and resilience, and to see how important these two themes are in the lives of English as foreign language educators. And we will be able to provide some case studies and practical solutions and strategies on how to deal with the topic under discussion. We'll also like to look at various characteristics and pitfalls of teacher burnout and other stresses. We find out from the polls that we did that there are several factors that cause teachers to have burnout. Please, next slide. Okay, so we will head on right now. I will invite all of you, dear participants, to go to your chat and tell me how you're feeling, how you're doing today. Please write in the chat. How are you feeling today? And Linda will help us to find out. Maybe read.
Can you not see the chat, Elsie?
Yeah, I can. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, lots of contributions here, loads of contributions, very varied.
Okay. So I'd like to find out from our participants how you are doing today. Please write in the chat. Okay. Eloho says he's doing well or she's doing well. Debbie, great. Oh, interesting. Bikele says he's a little bit stressed. Yeah, we'll find solutions. We'll offer some help with that in a little while. Wow. Thank you, Zita. I can see that you're doing well. Test home. Bikele says he's a little stressed. I think I read that already. Okay. Gita Shu says he's fine, feeling good. Valky, thank you. You say you're doing well. You're feeling great. Giza Shu, oh, great. You're feeling energetic. Wow, that's great. Mohammed, fine. Great. You're doing fine. Oh, we wish a quick recovery to someone suffering from a flu. I can't see your name, so because new messages keep coming. Yeah, we wish you a quick recovery. All right. Great. Ekule says he's feeling happy to resume on Monday. Yeah, generally, as educators, when we get into our classroom, it's sometimes good to just find out from our learners and those around us how they are feeling. To chit chat, it sometimes reduces stress. and paves the way for whatever discussion we may have to do. Let's look at the next slide, please. Great. Why has well-being for teachers become so important in recent years? I will wish that our participants answer in the chat. Please, can you write down why is well-being for teachers so important nowadays? Why is well-being for teachers important nowadays? Yes, Linda, because we are becoming more aware. Thank you. Yeah, for growth, for emotional and cognitive growth. Thank you. Fozia, thank you. We can't pour out of empty cups. Excellent. Yes, behavior of the learners also, we need to consider that. That's why well-being is important these days. Yeah, for social behavior. Sarah says we need energy to teach. Yeah. Good. Buhu, it makes for better teaching practice. Thank you. You have wonderful ideas. That's really good. That's really good. Some of our answers are really way already into our webinar for today. We'll find out that well-being in the recent years has taken a primordial place on the scale of research. Thank you so much for your answers. Can we have the next slide, please? Yes, well-being has become so important recently because the world in general, people are recognizing the importance of education and the holistic role of educators. And we also see that there are high rates of teacher burnout and people leaving the profession. And I would like to find out also in the chat, can some people see from the list we have here, what are the main causes from the list? It may not be exhaustive. This is just indicative. What are the major causes or the major reasons why well-being is so important? If anyone can support in the chart with an answer why well-being is becoming important from our list, from the list we have, whether 1, 2, 3, or 4, you can just write the number from the list we have. From the list, we'll find out that the major reason why well-being is important is due to the global recognition. But if anyone finds that some of the answers in the list that we have there is important, they can write that in the chat. We'll also find that there are great shortages of teachers and in the world. So people are getting concerned about how teachers' welfare is being considered. And above all, we'll find that with the advent of COVID, teacher well-being became very important. With the pandemic, everyone had to take care of themselves, especially educators, as they had to continue in that pandemic to give out lessons, to continue in spite of what was happening. So I think these are the major reasons, and some that you have highlighted already make for why well-being is becoming important in the lives of educators. Can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah, the basis or the premise for our discussion today is based on the CASEL model. And the CASEL model is built on 5 major principles. The CASEL model, or CASEL, simply stands for Collaborative Academic Social Emotional Learning. That's CASEL. So this is the model for which we will be looking at our discussion that we will be discussing about well-being. We realize that this model is based on 5 major elements or principles, and we see that self-management is one of them. And as educators, we need to manage our emotions. We need to manage ourselves. We need to be aware, first of all, also about these emotions, and then we'll be able to interact with the community socially, and then we look into our relationships, and then at the end, One of the principles says we have to make responsible decisions. So with these principles, we are able to examine our topic of well-being and resilience. We will see that these 5 principles begin from the outer core, the first core immediately after the principles. We'll find that we have, as educators, a role to play in the classroom with the curriculum, and we'll give out instruction. And then we'll move out into the main school stream where we'll interact with school practices and policies. And then the community. The teacher has a role to play even with the community. So we will need how to manage our emotions. We need these principles to help us take responsible decisions and relate well with the society. We will need to consider these principles as educators when we move into our classrooms, when we go out into the school community, and when we meet with other stakeholders who take part in contributing to education as a whole. Can we move to the next slide? What is well-being? We can write in the chat, for those who are able to write in the chat what they think well-being is. Thank you for those who have been responding so well. Well-being, according to OECD, what they think is that it's the state of feeling comfortable, feeling happy. We may not have it all, but we are comfortable. And Buhu says, a peaceful life, a happy one. Sometimes not really a happy life, but just being able to navigate circumstances in which we find ourselves. Yes, praise what Pali says is a state of mind. Yeah. So Economics Foundation, the new Economics Foundation also describes well-being as how people feel, how they function, both on a personal and a social level, how they evaluate their lives, how they look at themselves, how they have a sense of meaning and purpose, especially as educators. What do we find as happiness when we give out lessons? And then psychology today also says that well-being is an experience of health, happiness, and prosperity. Yeah, I'm happy some people mentioned that it's a state of happiness, it's a state of a state of prosperity when you think about well-being. Next slide, please. This discussion is based also from a case study that was taken in our teacher association in Cameroon. And we will just look at it in general. We are not going to really be discussing every point in detail, but we'll just look at the main factors from the poll, the WhatsApp poll from our community of practice in Cameroon, from our teacher association called Camelta. We found out, and just like the poll on the other, that Steve highlighted at the beginning, that teacher stressors evolve or come from the student's behavior. That's the principal cause of stress for teachers. And I think it also validates the findings that we had in our Telegram group. And then we'll see that a major preoccupation or major cause of stress is also pressure to meet with deadlines, to be able to meet targets that the administration sets. And then how can we have support? Some teachers propose that we should have flexible work arrangements. I think that is the best way for us to thrive through the difficulties that we have. That's a major way to have support. And then the last part, how can we have self-care? How can we take care of ourselves and to help us being resilient? I think many of the teachers suggested that we have to indulge in hobbies, we indulge in creative pursuits so that we'll be able to deal with the problems, the challenges that we face as EFL educators. Let's move to the next slide, please. What are the major characteristics of burnout? I would like us to go once more to our chart, and then we'll look at our lists. We have a list of characteristics of teacher burnout. Let's try to look at them. and then evaluate which ones speak to us most. Great. Someone says lack of motivation, frustration. Yes? 1 and 3, emotional detachment. Yes. Sometimes some people portray lack of motivation, emotional detachment, withdrawal from colleagues. Thank you, Mohammed. That's true. When people are going through challenges in life, they generally sometimes withdraw from people. Can we have others? Feeling ineffective. Yes. Neglecting. Fatih says some people neglect self-care. Yeah. Class absence, absenteeism. Great. Generally, many teachers or educators manifest burnout in various ways. And it's our place to, as educators, to be able to identify when we get to this point. When we reach this point, we should be able to know that we're having difficulties. I can see on the chat, someone says insomnia. Yeah. So these are the major causes of burnout, the signs of burnout, characteristics of burnout: withdrawal from colleagues, irritability, mood swings. Some people manifest that irritability for minor things, and it's a sign of burnout. So in the next slide, we'll try to find out how to deal with these characteristics. Let's take a quick quiz. You're going to write in the chat either true or false for 1, or 2, or 3, or 4. So if you have 1, you can write true. If you have 2, you can write false or F or T after reading the content against each number. So we have a resilience indicator. What shows indicator from the list? Can we please write in the chat? If it's 1, Fozia says, educators who practice daily mindfulness and regular exercise are more likely to sustain well-being. True. Yes. 4 is false. 3, true. Thank you so much for your wonderful responses. I can see that you are participating effectively. Thank you so much. So my proposal for this quiz, number 1 is true. Educators who practice daily mindfulness and regular exercise are more likely to sustain their well-being under pressure. And number 2 is equally true. Viewing classroom setbacks as opportunities to learn demonstrates a mindset, a growth mindset. That's equally true. Number 3, working in isolation without peer support fosters stronger resilience than collaborating. That's false. And number 4 is also false. Anchoring everyday lessons to a deeper sense of purpose has little impact on a teacher's long-term motivation. That's also false. Okay, let's move to the next slide. How can we be resilient? How can we move forward after the burnout? What are the characteristics that make for resilient educators? We find that just like we had 5 principles for social emotional learning, we will also have 5 principles that help us to be resilient as educators. The first one, just like we had for social emotional learning, is self-awareness, self-management. We find that these overlap: self-awareness, and it also occurs in the social emotional characteristics or the elements that we found in social emotional learning. So we have that self-awareness. We are aware that we have these emotions. They are there and we have to take care of them. And then we have mindfulness. We have to be mindful about our emotions, be mindful about what is happening around us, what is taking place around us. And then 3 is self-care. This is cardinal for most educators. We must take care of ourselves. It's not a crime. It's not bad taking care of yourself as an educator. We have to maintain a regular self-check, self-care, and try to improve our health as teachers. And then we have positive relationships. Positive relationships. Some people need to be encouraged. Some people need to live happily with one another. So we need to maintain positive relationships. And then we have a purpose in our duty. We should always have a purpose. And it also relates with the social emotional element we found out, the last one of making responsible decisions. So we have to have a purpose in life. We have to have a positive attitude towards others and towards our experiences. We chose a career, so we need to find a purpose in that career, and we need to strive to move on. Let's have the next slide, please. How can we develop resilience? How can we develop resilience? We can develop resilience if we take care of ourselves, like we said before. And how can we build resilience? I would just like us to look at the lists or the content we have on the slide, and then we can go to our chat and write out those that speak to us. I've just seen one of our participants has said that all the elements of resilience are very important. So how can we build resilience? Anyone in the chat, please? How can we build resilience? How can we build resilience? We can build resilience through self-care. What other ways can we use to build resilience? A shift in mindset. A shift in mindset. If we've been trying things and it's not working, we have to move to other ways. Having a positive mindset, positive mind. Thank you, Gitashu. We also have to learn to adapt to adversity. Yes, that's important. It's really important to be able to adapt, to find ways not only to thrive, but to navigate through the challenges that may occur in the teaching field. So we have to adapt. We have to find methods, help. We'll look at that in the next slides, to navigate through the adversity and the difficulties that may come our way. And I'd like to round up with this one that says that we must be aware that problems, difficulties, challenges will always be there. It doesn't mean that if you are resilient, all your problems will be solved. All your difficulties will be solved. You have answers to all the problems. No, when you are resilient, you are able to navigate. You find ways of going through these challenges. So resilience doesn't mean you have all the answers to all your problems or automatically all the problems will go away. Thank you. We'll have some links from that at the end at the Teaching English website. We have links that will help us navigate through challenging times as we go, especially those of us who come from areas where we have large classroom enrollments and all other difficulties that have a toll on the health of the teacher. Let's move to the next slide. We will look at the tips and benefits of maintaining resilience. Let's look, first of all, at the tips. What are some of the tips for maintaining resilience? We need to know our strengths and weaknesses. We need to find motivation from success stories. There are people, there are mentors, there are those we can run to for help. There are people around us. We are surrounded by so many people that can lend a hand. So we should learn, find motivation from their stories. And also, we will emphasize that self-care is important. And then, what are the benefits? What are the benefits? Maybe I'll leave that in the chart. I'll leave that in the chat. What are some of the benefits of resilience that you may think about, or from the list we have? What are some of the benefits of having resilient teachers? So we'll find that we will have satisfaction, competency and satisfaction levels will be high. First of all, to you as an individual, as an educator, you have that self-satisfaction if you are resilient and you're able to navigate the difficulties. We also get emotionally intelligent and we can empathize when we show resilience. And then we'll become effective and we'll have more effective lessons. We can teach well. We can be able to deliver in spite of the issues that may come around us if we have this attitude of resilience. I can see already some very interesting questions in the chat. So we'll look at that at the end. We'll see that there are benefits of being resilient. In our context, we have teachers who have gone through a lot of psychological and emotional difficulties, I can call it that way. Some others have developed into serious disorders, and it is very common to find teachers nowadays complaining about their health. So we need to look at ways to thrive, find help, take care of yourself. If you realize immediately you realize that it's not working, please get help. Please, let's have the next slide. We have another quick quiz in the chat. What is resilience for educators? So we are going to write either true or false against the number. Very quickly, true or false. For either 1, 2, or 3. What is resilience for educators? So we find out that number 1, resilience for educators is the capacity to adapt, persist, and thrive amid unique challenges and amid our teaching contexts. Is that true or false? Is anyone? I think I can check that in the chat. Very good, Robert. Good. Praise, that's great. The answers are all great. I also think that number 1 is true, number 2 is true, number 3 is true. Resilience for educators is the capacity to adapt, persist, and thrive. Resilience goes beyond mere endurance. It is inviting teachers to maintain their well-being and discover genuine joy in their work. And then to foster resilience, educators not only safeguard their own health, but they also create a more positive and supportive environment for their students. It has benefits both on the students and the educators. Next slide, please. At the beginning, I was very amazed by the comment someone made that you can't fill from an empty cup. Take care of yourself. I think the principal message that we may have to give out at the end of this webinar is self-care. Self-care is important. We need to take care of ourselves. And just like we have on the slide, you can't fill from an empty cup. So where do we go to when we feel down? So when you know it's not going, it's not working, what can you do? Do you get self-help? Do you ask colleagues or the administration or individuals, school unions, teacher associations, schedule downtime, professional counseling? I want to find out from you, from the list we have here, which one option or proposal from here speaks best to you in your context. Yeah, we have self-help. Yes, Linda says unions help us to fight for our rights, help us to work well. For better working conditions. Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to read from praise. Okay. We need help from colleagues, from other individuals. We need help. We need to move on. We need the unions. We need the teacher associations. Thank you, Linda. Simply talking with others helps to relieve our situations. And we can find help when we just talk with our colleagues, with others around us. So it's good to share. It's good to share. Thank you very much. So we need to learn how to seek for help where necessary. Next slide, please. Research by Sarah Mercer emphasizes that if teachers are happy and satisfied, they can teach to the best of their ability. If teachers are happy and satisfied, they can teach to the best of their ability. Teacher well-being is the foundation of good practice. Good practice. If a teacher has to give out the best in them, then they have to be satisfied, either in their conditions of work, the support from they get all around them, the administration, from the teacher associations, and from all around. We need all around support from administrators, from other stakeholders. And if this is considered, if the satisfaction of the teachers is considered, I think that they will give the best of themselves. Let's move to the next slide. And I would like to highlight that this information and research by Sarah Mercer is from teachingenglish.org. We can have more information about how to thrive as educators in very demanding work areas where we find ourselves. So what's the ABC of teacher self-care? A, you accept what you cannot change. A, you accept what you cannot change. We have these difficulties, we have these issues, and we need to accept. And B, strike a balance. There should be a balance between the personal and the professional lifestyle. We must strike a balance. We shouldn't outweigh one or overuse ourselves so much that we stand at a detriment of our health. So we need to find a balance. And C, we connect with others and we develop care for relationships. We need to have supportive relationships, especially with our families, especially with colleagues and those who are around us. Just like the cell element said, we need to find positive relationships. So we find that we have this teacher self-care in ABC, accept what you cannot change, balance, and then connect with others. Next slide, please. Let's look at some tips for improving our well-being. We have this list and then we can go on. What speaks best to me is the ability to get a break from work. I do that often for my well-being. I take a break. I go for a retreat. I could be a spiritual retreat for meditation, a time when I'm out. So what speaks best to you? Linda, she's running. Great. Yes. Finding running a wonderful, improving well-being activity. Yes. So we have a list there. I would like you to just write in the chat which one speaks best to you. I also have downtime for digital devices. You can have some time where you don't use your digital device. Ernestina says she has developed habits and interests outside work. Thanks for your response. Jibril says, I think A and C, or C, count 1 to 10 or count 1 to 10. Great idea for relieving tension, anger, and emotions that may be running up in us. So we can get mentorship, we can get network support, and then we eat healthy. A famous adage says, you are what you eat. So what you eat helps a lot. Next slide, please. We have some other snippets, we have some other proposals on well-being. So we can learn to satisfy. It comes from satisfy and suffice. And all of these ideas are from our Teaching English website. You can find that in the chat. You learn to do enough, but not to be a perfectionist. Be physically active. Yes, we need to be active. And then we can learn new skills. We can stop, reflect. We can also celebrate our little wins. If you have a positive achievement, if you have achieved something, it's also good to celebrate. It's also good to highlight that and celebrate your little wins. And then we collaborate with others. We pay attention to the moment and learn from others. We'll find out in life we don't know everything, so there's always something to learn. There's always new knowledge around us. So we learn from others, and then we pay attention to the present moment. It helps us to avoid worry, and it helps us tailor our feelings to around us, to the things happening around us, and not take them out of where we are. So we learn to pay attention to the moment. Next slide, please. We have more snippets, and we have more in this slide. On this slide, we have more quotations that can help us live well. Caring for ourselves is not self-indulgence, it is self-preservation. That is from Audre Lorde. She's an advocate that if you take care of yourself, it's non-indulgence. You are not indulging in yourself. You are not just being lazy. You are preserving yourself. And then Sarah Mason, we looked at her research, and it's very important for this study. She says we don't need to feel guilty or selfish about self-care. Teacher self-care should be done with a clear conscience. You should take care of yourself. You need it. And the body is like a piano, and happiness is like music. It is needful to have the instrument in good order. Just like we can't fill out from an empty cup, you must take care of yourself, because to produce the right vibrations, to give out the right lesson plans, the right communication to your learners, you have to be satisfied. You have to live well, not above your circumstance, but you have a balance, like we said before. You take care of yourself, you take care of that instrument that has to go out and give knowledge and dispense knowledge. So the body is like that piano. You have to clean it, you have to take care of it, you have to exercise and contribute to the well-being of your own body before you'll be able to deliver. Next slides, please. I would like to share, if my colleague is here, we would like to share some of our own well-being experiences. And I think from now, we'll give out, I will ask you to write in the chat, what are your experiences that have helped you to thrive in your situations? So my principal point about well-being is not to be afraid of failure. I don't know about you. You shouldn't be afraid to fail. You shouldn't be afraid to make a wrong step. Even if you failed, we can try again. We learn from our mistakes, we learn from our experiences. So please, in the chat, can you just write out how to spend or how to have a great well-being experience? Very good. Yeah, I see that we need to spend time. Fozia says spend family time. Equally, very important to spend time, family time, bonding time with our children. Sometimes it's easier said than done, but we need to try. We try all the same. With busy schedules, with difficult working conditions, we try once in a while. It must not be regular, but we can take time off with our families, with our friends, to have a good time, to relax, and then play, have well-being games with our families, and relax. And then we have spiritual retreats. We break off the cycle of work. And then one major thing I really emphasize in my own experience is to have a downtime, that you are not connected to digital devices. You are not all the time connected digitally or working online and all of that. Yes, I like this from the chat. Laughing is a therapy. Thank you. Great idea. Great idea. We will find that too. We'll find that great, great. Laughing is an idea. Smile. Even when it's hard, when it's difficult, smile. Even with difficult colleagues, you can smile. You can choose not to respond. Next slide, please. No, the last but one slide is here. So we propose some tips for our discussion on Friday. And I would like to find out from you which ones you will try out. So you can write in the chat which tips from this list you are going to try out, and we'll find out more on our Telegram discussion coming up next Friday. Yes. Off-screen time, a great one to try. Drink lots of water, it helps. Taking a lot of water helps. The desiderata says we should avoid loud and aggressive people. Naps at work. Thank you, Fozia. Avoid anger. Yeah. Yes. Rest and sleep is important. And we take a spiritual break, exploring our surroundings. Rest and sleep is equally important. We cannot give out from an empty cup. So rest and sleep is important. Thank you for your wonderful ideas. Thank you so much. And thank you for your wonderful participation with this. We come to the end of this discussion. We'll now give room for question and answers.
Thank you so much, Elsie. There were so many really useful ideas in that. Thank you so much. I love the idea of being ourselves being like pianos, that we need to look after them so that they play well. That's great, isn't it? And all the others, like learning to say no, learning to satisfy. These are so important things, aren't they? So thank you so much for that. We've had some questions already. If anyone would like to note some more questions down in the chat, please do now, and we'll see how many we can get through. Otherwise, we can leave some for Friday for the Telegram group. The first question was, how can we build teacher resilience when facing lack of resources? Now, maybe these people are thinking when you just don't have enough to teach, obviously frustrating. What can we do in that context?
Yes, we are teachers, and we've had some little amount of training. Even if we can't find resources, we can turn. I think I gave a list of. We proposed a list of people we can turn to if we need help. If you lack resources, you can ask from colleagues, you can ask from mentors, and you can ask from teaching English. Why not? If you are here, you have access to maybe some amount of digital connectivity. So you can go to the websites that offer help. And I think one of the major ways we can help ourselves in our low resource context is to ask for help around us. There are people with great ideas just around us. Just look around. There are people doing very well that we can listen to, that they can give us help. So we can look around. I propose looking around you, even if you don't have resources, you can have people, you can use the students sometimes, you give them the idea and then they do role play and all of that. So look around, ask for help from those around you, mentors, from teacher associations, from those who are around that can give help, colleagues, there are people who have been teaching. They may not necessarily be English teachers. They can give you help.
Yeah, it's important to use
Thank
the
you.
teacher associations and things as well, your local teachers, isn't it, and your groups. And I think sometimes you need a bit of creativity to work with low resources, but often your creativity runs out if you don't look after yourself and have that well-being and resilience. So these things go together, I think, sometimes, don't they? There was another question. What's an effective approach for building resilience in diverse contexts? I'm not sure what they mean by that. What is the context that the person said? Is
Hmm.
there anything that works
Maybe
in all
maybe
contexts?
it can still relate to our low resource context we are living in. We
Hmm.
all know that we have low resource, we have lack of resources where we come from. So building resources, building resilience, we can learn from others. We mentioned that. You learn from others, you find out, learn from the success stories of others. We can consult. We've mentioned that. So even if you live in a low resource context, there are people around you that can give help. There are teachers, older teachers who have been teaching for long. They have experience. Even in other fields, we can ask for help, seek counseling, find out from those around you. You can do it, especially from those who have been teaching for some time. We
Yeah,
can't just hold
I
our
know
hands.
in
Yes.
yeah, in my context, for example, nobody has any time to give help. So that can be quite
Mm,
frustrating, can't it? If you ask somebody else and they don't have any time because they're all so stressed as well. So we need to expect this and
mm,
maybe find the right person. Maybe somebody outside teaching who does have a bit of time.
mm.
That might be,
Great. Yeah.
yeah, often
Yeah,
as
and it
good
happens
as
too with
yeah.
us. Sometimes those who are the resource persons are quite busy, but it doesn't, if you get turned out, you can look for someone else, you can try other sources. And like Linda suggested, we can look to people out of our classrooms,
Hmm.
out of the classroom, out of your area of study. I've
Yeah.
had times when I've asked for help from French teachers to explain things I didn't understand in
Hmm.
very simple terms, and you can ask for help. I think the major thing is to ask for support.
Hmm.
Someone somewhere will be willing to give you.
Yeah. Great. There's an interesting question here. How can we make a habit to practice any of these solutions? Because we're all used to our old habits. Don't you think it's difficult to break our old habits? What would you like to say about that?
I think it starts by trying, just keep trying and developing interest. If you know that this is valuable to you, it's going to help you. You have to look for a way to support yourself rather than getting drained out, developing a terminal illness, and being ineffective in the classroom. You need to just try one, two, three times. It may not be easy. To break off an old habit is not easy, but try. Day one, day two, day three, and you stop, try again, and you keep on trying. You need to keep working. If not, you get
Yeah.
caught. So
And sometimes
yeah.
sometimes the beginning of the school year is a perfect opportunity for this, isn't it? To start
Yes.
breaking a new
Mm,
habit. So maybe now
mm.
is the perfect opportunity. Do something different than you did before. Okay, I've got time for one more question here. What about what do you think of the role of journaling and exit tickets and teachers self-reflecting about their teaching? So this is like getting feedback from students and writing journals, different self-reflection ideas. Do you think that helps developing
Those are
well-being?
excellent ideas or ways of reviewing our own practice. It helps even with us as teachers when you get feedback from learners in their exit tickets, in their questions, questionnaires, and everything you can give to in the classroom to help you make it better. Sometimes, rather than just giving out lessons, asking them, just telling them it's in the curriculum, this is what is there. You ask the learners what they want to study. It makes it interesting, or how they evaluate your teaching. It doesn't need to be some research grounded in so much theory and all of that. Just
Mm.
a little form, or yes or no, a thumbs up or thumbs down helps improve your teaching practice. So those are
Yeah,
excellent ideas proposed there. And if
yeah.
you practice them, it makes your learning, it makes your teaching practice improve a lot. There's a lot of improvement when you do a self-reflection on
And
your
then you
motivation.
feel better about it, don't you, as well?
Yeah,
Yeah,
feel
I think we need to be
satisfied.
careful. Yeah, I think we need to be careful with our reflection and our journaling that you don't go into a downward spiral, because if you're just writing negative things, it might make you feel more negative. So you need to push yourself out of that sometimes, I think, to make yourself be a bit more positive sometimes. Yeah. But thank you so much for answering all those questions, Elsie. And thank you so much for all your great ideas. And over to Steve to end.